Hello you guys, welcome to another day of Your House TV program. Today we will have a cooking section, a news section and an entertainment section. So to start we will learn how to cook a simple dinner and this is the recipe. To make this entrance, the first step is cut slices bread and bake it, chopping the tomato and the onion, and then spread a little bit of olive oil and garlic on the bread, and finally put the tomato and onion mix on the bread and serve. Now to make a main dish, spaghetti pomodoro, cooking the pasta and meanwhile cook the tomatoes. Then macerate the tomato and now put in a pan a bit of oil and add the garlic. A few seconds later, pour the tomato and cook it with oregano, salt, pepper, and a little bit of sugar. Finally, serve the spaghetti with the tomato, handmade sauce, and some leaf of basil. Accompany the dinner with a glass of wine. Good morning, Colombia. Welcome to another broadcast of the news. We start with which is the world's most LGBT-friendly city? Even when cities seem progressive on the surface, the lived experience of members of the LGBT community can tell a dramatically different story. Many annual pride marches that were once solemn protests against repression have become celebrations of now existing rights or progress, reflecting the strength of LGBT communities. In Bogota, for example, the capital of a macho and socially conservative country, there has been surprising progress in LGBT rights. In 2016, the country's government passed laws allowing same-sex couples to adopt and marry, and the previous year it granted transgender people the right to change their identity on official government documents, which have allowed more equality and openness. However, this year's Bogota Pride March was marked by an undertone of resistance to and fear of the right-wing government of the new president Iván Duque. Duque openly opposes the LGBT inclusive peace agreement his predecessor Juan Manuel Santos signed with leftist rebels FARC in 2016. Activists claim he is also against same-sex marriage and adoption rights. Well, there are some countries around the world that are pretty friendly with the LGBT community, especially Europe and Canada. A study of US metro areas found San Francisco has the biggest proportion of LGBT residents in the country at 6.2%, followed by Portland and Austin. San Francisco has often been called the gay capital of the world for its culture of tolerance. But the other side of the coin are countries like Russia, Saudi Arabia, Africa, and Iran. The good news is that things are happening around the world, and there is a significant progress in different places for LGBT communities. In other news, Canada warming twice as fast as the rest of the world. Canada is warming on average at the rate twice as fast as the rest of the world, and new scientific reports indicate. The federal government climate report also warns that changes are already evident in many parts of the country and are projected to intensify. Canada's Arctic has seen the deepest impact and will continue to warm at more than double the global rate. The report suggests that many of the effects already seen are probably irreversible. The largest temperature increases have been seen in the north, the Fraser, and in the northern British Columbia. The effects of global warming on Canada's environment include more extreme weather. Hotter temperatures could mean more heat wave and higher risk of wildfires and droughts in some parts of the country. Oceans are expected to become more acidic and less oxygenated, which could harm marine life. Parts of Canada's Arctic Ocean are projected to have expensive ice-free periods during summer within a few decades. A rise in sea levels could also increase the risk of coastal flooding, and more intense rainfall could cause problems with flooding in urban centers. What caused Canada's warming? Canada's rapid warming is due to a number of factors, including a loss of snow and sea ice, which is increasing the absorption of solar radiation and causing large surface warming than in other regions, according to the report. Finally, Venezuela at least 4 dead and hundreds injured in border standoff. At least 4 people have been killed and hundreds injured in a wave of violence that convulsed Venezuela's border regions on Saturday, as opposition activists tried to defy a government ban to bring food and medical supplies into the country. 3 trucks of aid caught fire as they approached the first border checkpoints at the Santander and Simón Bolívar bridges, connecting Venezuela to Colombia. It is not clear how those fires were started. There were injuries on both sides of the crossing, with Colombian authorities reporting at least 285 wounded. Humanitarian aid is much needed in a country racked by hunger, hyperinflation, and food shortage, but opposition leaders also hope their attempt to deliver supplies will undermine Maduro and encourage defection from security forces that have largely remained loyal to Caracas. Maduro addressed a rally in the capital, insisting he was stronger than ever and calling volunteers trying to ship and traitors. The most serious clashes were on the Santander Bridge separating Cúcuta and the Venezuela town Ureña. Their volunteers escorted aid trucks up to a security cordon but were pushed back by rubber bullets and tear gas, while gangs loyal to Maduro and opposition supporters threw stones at each other. Humanitarian aid didn't reach the Venezuelan population, and as a result of this, many people were injured. Those are the news for today. Thank you. And my recommended movie for this week is Contratiempo. It's a suspense thriller, and this is my concept about it. I think Contratiempo is an appropriate name because the central theme is an investigation, and that is a situation that always is against the time. Maybe an alternative name can be Case Closed, because it's an investigation about a crime that finally is closed when the killer is discovered. Contratiempo was made in Spain in 2017. I think the movie has a very good location and I really like it. Maybe I wouldn't add anyone. As I said before, Contratiempo is a suspense thriller about a crime. A guy was missing and their parents started to looking for him. And they did everything that they could to find their son's body and his killer. Finally, the guy's mom achieved find the killer in his confession. I recommended this movie because of its plot. Also, it is a movie that achieves keep you to be alert. The locations are really beautiful, the landscapes, and the actors are very good, especially Anna Wagener, who plays as the mother of the missing guy. That is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this program and I will wait for you the next week. Goodbye.